Say we get started. How are you guys today? You guys have a good week so far? I know it's only Monday. You did what?
Got rear-ended first thing this morning.
Oh, geez. Are you okay?
Oh yeah, it was actually right over here, in fact.
Really?
Yeah.
There's been a number of accidents right here. What happens is you have this long highway, stretch of highway, and people aren't paying attention. All of a sudden, they pull up a big line of cars, pulls up to the light, and all of a sudden,
That's exactly.
Is that what happened?
Yep. Big line of cars with the light. We all hit our brakes. The person behind me was probably not paying attention. Hit me, knocked me into the car in front of me. Yeah.
We saw one the other day.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was fortunate that they were on the brakes, and it's one of those new transit.
Oh, it dropped.
Really sloped front end, and so they wound up going underneath my bumper and dented my bumper and messed up one of the rear quarter panels. Nothing too severe. Completely disabled their vehicle because of the angle of the hood like that. They went under me, and my bumper went straight through the radiator.
Oh,
How about the
jeez.
front of your car?
The front, the bumper just tilted a little bit. That's it. And then somehow the Lexus that I catapulted into, cars made out of like fiberglass. You would expect it to shatter, but it was like a scratch on it.
Really?
Nothing, yeah.
Jeez. Lexus, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know that scratch is going to cost like $10,000 to fix, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
It's not on me. I looked up the laws, and someone tried to say like, oh, well, if you pull up too close to someone, even if someone hits you and knocks you into a nope, if you are at a stop and someone hits you and you launch into the next car, it is 100% the fault of the person at the back of the collision. If you're still in motion and get hit and knock into the person in front of you, it's 50% liability.
Oh, geez, that's good to know.
Yeah.
All right, so last week we worked on staying and jumping up. How'd you guys do on that? Did you guys stay and jump up? No. How do dogs do? Do you feel we got anywhere? Do you feel we totally lost you? Do we need to go over more? How do you guys feel about this? Hold on one second.
Lay down, but she almost immediately wants to get back up and not jump up on me, but looking for more affirmations of some sort.
Okay, so are you talking about jumping up on strangers or staying?
Just staying. She doesn't jump up on me.
Okay. So that is one of the difficulties when dog training sometimes. The dog learns really quick. Hey, if I do good, I know there's a reward coming. So obviously the dog's going to get excited for it. There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can change the way you're doing it. So instead of standing, sit down. Like sit down with her between your legs and just work on sit with her being you lower. Okay, if you stand up, a lot of times the dog thinks, oh, dad's going to move right away. If you sit down, the dog's more likely to say, okay, hey, dad's more stationary. So maybe a way to kind of break through that a little bit. Okay, plus you're kind of down to the dog's level. The other thing you can do is have a handful of food. When she sits, feed, and then free her. Like don't stop feeding and then free her. So let's say you fed every half a second. Okay, next time you do it, do every second. And then every 2 seconds. So basically, in her mind, she's still getting fed the whole time, but now you're expanding that out. Okay? Certain breeds are more likely to do this. I imagine this dog here has a problem with stay almost probably more than your dog. Why? Because the energy level is way higher. I mean, the dog's tail is going 100 miles an hour here, right? It tells us what its brain is doing. If the tail's going 100 miles an hour, the brain is probably doing the same exact thing. So at first, we do have to reward more often and for the dog to understand, oh, this is what you want me to do. Because a lot of times the dog will start doing what's called offering behaviors. Oh, I sat. Now you must want me to do something else. Okay, so if we keep rewarding and then we expand that reward out, the dog will stay in the behavior longer. Okay, good question though. Okay, did you have a question?
Yeah, well, the training session you had, you were talking about getting to the dog on his lower level and giving him treats. But I guess that's fine if you're working with him and he's jumping on you, but if you got people coming into the house, like he's around a lot of people a lot of times, and he'll recognize them and he gets really happy and excited and he likes to jump on them. I was just wondering if there's something more immediate, because you were saying, well, if they do that, maybe put them in the other room. But I just want is there a quicker fix to stop it?
So
A newspaper or something hey, don't do that. I mean.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. I'm really glad these are good questions. So I want to make sure I'm not telling you to put the dog in a room if the dog jumps up on somebody. I want to make sure we're clear on that. I think what I was trying to explain is if you're in the process of working on it and you have company that comes over and you can't train the dog right there, then try to avoid the situation. Okay, I'm not saying that putting the dog in the room. Putting the dog in a room is not going to fix the jumping up problem. You're basically you're just eliminating the dog from the issue, which does not help the dog train. So the question he brought up is, okay, what if he has family all of a sudden drop by and he can't work on it? So I'm going to pick on him for a little bit, but he doesn't know any better, which I think he can kind of take it. So he mentioned a newspaper. In the old days, I think if this happened in the 60s or 70s, everybody used to roll up a newspaper, and whatever the dog did wrong, they'd whack the dog over the head with the newspaper. Of course, the newspaper doesn't necessarily hurt the dog. The fright is supposed to cause the dog not. It can. So, in retrospect, there's a reason why we don't do that anymore. One, it's not fair to the animal, okay? Because in retrospect, we inadvertently taught the dog to do it. There's a reason why the dog jumps up on us. The dog isn't genetically just prone to jump up on people. It gets satisfaction. Sometimes it only takes once. We walk in the door, the dog jumps on us, we acknowledge the dog once, and voila, we've created a problem. So by taking and punishing the dog for something that we've created the problem is unfair. It's kind of like this young man's got a daughter. It's kind of like when his daughter was younger, for punishing her for something that he did not properly teach her not to do. Okay, so I know you're kind of looking for a quick fix. In dog training, there really is no quick fix. Now, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here. If somebody walks into his house and the dog jumps on them, and they whack the dog over the head with a newspaper or with anything else, I guarantee the next person that walks in the house, the dog is gonna say, "Oh crap, I don't want to do that anymore." However, what happens to the dog every time somebody walks in the house? Now every time everybody walks in the house, the dog is fearful of somebody walking in the door. So inadvertently, we created a secondary problem. Now when somebody walks in, the dog has become aggressive towards them because they know that every time somebody comes in the door, pain happens, discomfort happens, or I get whacked on the head. So there's kind of a reason why I know this is not a quick fix, but you do need to try to train it properly instead of looking for a quick fix, which I know you're not. I know you're not looking for a quick fix. So,
as they get older, do they tend to grow out of that as much?
No, that's a good point. I guarantee it. If the dog does it now, the dog's going to do it when it's 10 years old. If every time I walked up to this man, he handed me $100, it doesn't matter if I did it for a month or if I did it a year from now. If I know every time I walk up to him, he's going to give me $100, do you think I'm never going to stop walking up to him? I'm always going to be walking up to him. So it doesn't get better. It's just something that you do have to train. So one of the things that you might do, now once again, if you know somebody's coming over, put them on leash and treat it as a training opportunity. Yeah, so let's say, here, come here for a minute. Okay, well, don't worry about it. So, let's say I'm a guest, right? I come into the door, and the dog is used to running up and jumping on your guest, right? Okay, if you have him on leash, you can stop him from doing that. Okay, then that initial excitement is done. Hand them food and start having them feed the dog. Okay, so now the dog doesn't need this rush. Oh, somebody's new and jump up on him. Now the dog's understanding. Oh, hey, the person walking in is just going to feed me. Okay, that way it's a controlled environment. Does that make sense? Do you have some food?
Yeah.
We're gonna do it with this young lady here real quick here. So just a little side note. So some of your dogs are kind of reactive towards other dogs. This dog here we're kind of working on before the young man came in. You guys remember on week 2 we worked on leave it and take it, right? Okay, it's a great opportunity to work on leave it. If your dog does this, okay, I'm a dog. I'm staring at this dog. After a stare, what do you think is going to happen next? A bark. And then after the bark, it's going to happen a lunge. And then happens a lawsuit. Okay? So, kind of what I was explaining to these two young people is we redirect the dog at a stare. When the dog starts fixing at something, at that point, tell the dog to leave it. Okay? If the dog does not leave it, then you have to make a choice. Okay? Do I try to redirect the dog in a positive way? In other words, do I try to kind of say the dog's name and hope the dog looks away? When it comes to the dog lunging at another dog, I'd rather you do what this young man does right now. And he gives the dog a quick check. So people say, well, wait a minute, that's not fair to the dog. You're giving the dog a hard check on the leash. Ask yourself this: if your child was to start to run across the street, would you kindly ask the child not to do it, or would you make it a point that the child doesn't do it again? But here's the kicker to that. We taught the dog what leave it is. So therefore, we're being fair to the animal. We're not just starting to check the dog right off the bat. We've taught the dog, hey, leave it means you leave it alone. Take it means you take it. So if I am a dog and I'm starting to fixate on this dog, and my owner tells me to leave it, and I don't leave it alone, then if there's a consequence, it's fair. Does that make sense? Okay, so if he starts fixating on that dog, starts staring at that dog, at that point, tell him to leave it. If he doesn't leave it, then follow through however you're comfortable with following through. At that point, it's not abuse. At that point, we consider a correction.
I missed that week.
Okay? Do what again?
I missed that week. I should have looked at it online.
No, not at all. You did. Guys, I don't expect you to know this. You guys are here because you don't know it, and that's perfectly fine. So don't beat yourself up over it. Do you have food? Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's say she just walked in your door, right? He's on leash. Walk him up, not a really tight leash, just kind of a loose leash, and walk him right up there. Okay? And then the moment the dog gets close, have the person just feed the dog. And feed. And feed. Good. So we have a controlled environment now, right? The dog didn't get an opportunity to go jump on your guest. And the more times you do that, now every time somebody walks in his house, what's the dog going to think? This is a training opportunity. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So I know it's sometimes difficult because you have people that just stop by. Yeah. But unless you have somebody just walking into your house, hey, put the dog on a leash and use them as a training opportunity. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Are you sure?
I got you now.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, any questions on that, guys? Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about walking on a leash and healing. Any idea what the difference is?
What's that?
Any idea what the difference between healing and walking on the leash would be? Anything come to mind? Hold on 1 second.
Eye contact like the side vision would be a true heel.
Okay.
As you're walking is what I thought. Versus walking on leash. She's just
This man almost got it. So I define it as a formal and a non-formal. So if you were going to take your dog for a leisurely walk, let's say a 2-mile walk or a 3-mile walk, would you want the dog? Would you expect the dog to be right next to you the whole time, being attentive? No. We want the dog to enjoy the walk. So that's where the walk would come in, not healing. But let's say you're going to take your dog into public, like PetSmart or Petco or some other place, and you need the dog right beside you and attentive. At that point, you'll use heal. So it's 2 different commands. Most of you guys are just going to care that the dog doesn't pull you down the street. Teaching the dog heal takes a lot of work. You can ask me and this young lady here. She's been training for 3 years. My dog's 6. I still work on it. My puppy, we work on it so much. A true healing dog takes a lot of work. But like I said, most of you guys are just going to want your dogs not to pull you. So that's really what we're going to focus on more than anything, but we will touch base if we have a little time on healing too, okay? So let's talk about a little concept here. You guys ever watch the Iditarod on TV? So Iditarod is basically this big race in Alaska every year. It's about, I think it's 1,000 miles. Please don't quote me if you know this. But I think it's 1,000 miles, and it's basically a sled dog race. You have a team of, I think, 10 to 15 dogs that they trade out periodically, the dogs. And the dogs basically love to pull the sled. The reason why they love to pull the sled is the dogs like pulling. A lot of times the dog gets success from pulling. You ever start walking your dog and your dog sees a tree and it like puts it in 4-wheel drive and like yanks you to the tree, right? All it takes is for once the dog to get success from that, and the dog just learned a behavior. The dog just learns the harder I pull, the more success I get from this. So we're going to kind of use that against them a little bit. In a minute, what we're going to do is, can I use you for a minute, Diane? Okay. I'm going to be Diane's dog. Now, when you teach your dog to walk, it doesn't matter whether they're on the left or right. If you want to teach the dog on one particular side, that's perfectly fine. But in my book, it doesn't really matter because the dog's not healing. So let's say Diane and I are walking, and I get out in front of her and I start pulling her. She's just going to stop. What's going to happen is I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I'm not going anywhere. Now, if you get lucky, hopefully the dog will turn around. The moment the dog turns around, you're going to reward the dog. Dog says, okay, that's kind of strange. Okay, we're going to do that again. Okay, so we're going to go for another walk. We're walking. She stops. I reach the end of my leash, and then I'm like, wait a minute. Last time this happened, the moment I turned around, oh my gosh, I got food again, okay? Now the dog is starting, this is kind of interesting. I kind of like this game, okay? Now we start walking again. Now we've done it twice. Diane stops. Before I reach the end of the leash, I'm like, wait a minute. Hey, if I look at you, I get fed. So now what's happening? Now the dog is saying, well, wait a minute, if I get out in front of you, you're just going to stop. If I stay next to you, I'm going to get fed. Does that make sense? So we're basically just teaching the dog there's more success being beside us than in front of us. Okay? There's enough people here. I think we can do it with all the dogs. So can I ask you to go first?
Sure.
Okay. However, I'm gonna pick on him. He's not gonna get the same results. Harnesses work horrible for this. However, we'll see what the dog does. Okay. Okay, you sit back down if you want. Okay, what's your dog's name? Lucy. Do me a favor. Take a big handful of food, put it in your pocket. Or in your hand, it doesn't matter. You don't have to put it in your pocket. I just don't want you to have the bag.
Oh,
The bag is too cumbersome.
hold on.
Okay, so I'm going to distract Lucy a little bit. In a minute, Dad's going to start heading towards me. Lucy, Lucy. Okay, start heading towards me. Lucy! And stop. And wait. And feed. Yeah, it's good. Go back. Right away. Go back. Go backwards. We're going to start over again. Okay, start walking this way. Lucy! Lucy! And stop. Oh, feed her for that. Good job. Hey, do me a favor. Flip your wrist. Feed her palm towards the dog always.
Oh, that.
Other way. No, flip your hand over. Like that. Okay, because if you feed the other way, she'll sit sideways like this all the time.
Oh, I see.
Okay? Okay, go back and we'll try it over again. Lucy! Lucy! And stop. Very good. Okay, now, if she's completely in front of you like that, you have to flip your hand over. But when she's beside you, do a palm like that. Okay, try it again. Lucy! Start walking this way. Okay, feed her. Okay, try it again. And stop. Yes, good job. Run back. Try it again. Run back. Okay, start walking this way again. Lucy! And stop. Yes, good job. Feed her another one. Okay, say walk and start walking this way again. Oh, reload. Walk. Now what do you notice?
Right there, yeah.
And stop. And feed her. Yes, good job. Feed her another one. Good, go back. We'll try it one more time. Okay, start walking this way. Keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. Feed her. Good. So, okay, feed her palm. There you go, like that. There you go. Good, go sit back down. So, we saw there for a couple steps, what did his dog do? Stayed right there and was looking at him, right? So, don't stop. If your dog offers that behavior, don't stop and then feed the dog. If you can, feed it while you're walking. I understand dog is a little shorter, it's understandable, but don't always necessarily stop. At first we did, but then the dog started understanding, oh, if I just walk right by Dad, that's what Dad wants. So the moment the dog starts doing that, then you feed him for that, And pretty soon the dog realizes, oh, this is where Dad wants me to be. All right, ready to try it? I'm guessing she doesn't pull much.
Not too bad. With the pincher collar, it's almost automatic. If I put it on just the other collar,
Yeah.
then she almost knows that.
Let's put it on the other collar then.
Okay. I know you want some food. It's in my hand. Let's bring it out.
Okay, what's her name?
Reagan.
Reagan, that's right. Reagan! 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 Stop. Yes, feed her for that. Good job. Okay, go back and try it again. I don't think she's gonna leave you. Reagan! Reagan! I don't think this is gonna work. Try it again. Start walking this way. Reagan! Okay, so here, go back. Let me show you something. Okay, are you gonna have her on your left or right?
Normally, my right.
Okay, do me a favor. Put the food in the right. Put the leash in the left. Okay. Come in front of her. Come to the side right here. Feed her a little bit. Okay. Now start walking this way. Turn her. I want her to turn around there. Okay. Bring your leash over, or your arm over your leash. You almost had it. Okay. Switch hands over. Okay. Feed her right now. Here, go back. We'll try this again. She's so used to coming in front of you now, she has difficulty being beside you. Okay, start walking past me. Okay, feed her. Okay, flip your hand over there. There you go, feed like that. There you go, now walk. Feed. So, for about a step there, you did it, right? Okay, feed. Good, keep walking, keep walking. Okay, feed her. There you go. So this is probably how you're gonna have to do it with her, just because she's not gonna leave you if you have food in your hand. Okay? So basically, as you feed her, you just kind of tell her walk, and she'll learn to be by your side on that side. Okay? So I always encourage you guys to have the leash in the opposite side the dog is on. The reason being is, if you have the food in the opposite hand, the dog's on the left and you feed her on the right, what happens is the dog comes circling in front of you and gets in your way and it's going to trip you. So if you feed the dog on the side that the dog is on, you kind of saw it here. Every time the dog came in front of him, or every time he stopped, the dog kind of came in front of him, looking for the other food in the other hand. So if you feed her on the side that the food that she's on, let me phrase that. If you feed her on the side that she's on, she's going to be more likely to stay on that side than come to the other hand. Okay. The problem with this dog is it's been taught so much in front. Everything good has been coming in front of Dad. Now every time Dad stands still, the dog just comes in front of him. So he's going to have the difficulty getting the dog to walk necessarily beside you. But I think you'll be able to do it. Okay. Are you ready to try this? All right. Okay. Give her a little bit more leash. Okay. Come right over here. Yes, so give her a little more leash. Okay. Start walking this way. Rusty. 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 And stop. Okay. That wasn't too bad. Let's try it again. Rusty. Loose leash. Rusty. Keep walking. Rusty. And stop. Yes, feed her for that. Good job. Okay, stay there. Reload. Okay, let's do it this way.
Stay there? Is that what you said?
Yeah, stay there. Okay, now start coming this way. Rusty. Feed her. Good
Rusty.
job. Good, keep walking. And feed her.
Rusty.
Good job. And free her and run back and let's do it again. Let's try it again. Does she normally pull more than this?
Yeah.
He does, sorry.
That's alright. Let me fix your leash. There we go. Okay.
Rusty. Good. Feed him for that. That was really good. Ignore the distraction.
He knows I have food. That's
I guarantee what you're going to start doing is carrying food everywhere, right? Okay, good job.
good job.
So I guarantee the dogs in polling are everywhere. Probably two things are different now. One, she's using a prong collar for the first time, so the dog's a little sensitive on that. Two, she probably doesn't carry food everywhere. I think I told you guys this. I don't go anywhere without being ready to reward my dog. I'm always ready to reward my dog. I never ask my dog to do anything unless I'm ready to reward him. Whether take him for a leisurely walk, whether go training, I'm always ready to reward, because every situation can be either a good training experience or a bad training experience. So let's say she takes the dog for 10 walks during the week. Only 3 times she uses food, and only 3 times the dog offers correct behavior. The other 7 times the dog offers the incorrect behavior. What behavior is it learning? The incorrect one, because that's the one that's done more often. Does that make sense? Okay. Ready to try this? You don't think so?
I think if she gets out, she's gonna.
Okay, I kind of agree. Ready to try this? All right. Come over here. Okay, do me a favor. Start over here a little bit. Would you? Over here? Dad, come over here. Right over here. Yep. Okay, what's his name? His name's what again?
Con.
Tom?
Con. Like penis
Con.
con.
Oh, Con. Gotcha. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. Okay, start walking this way.
Okay.
Con. Con.
Actually, I like him walking around.
Does he normally pull you?
No, he usually stays pretty good.
Normally walks pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess it's probably not something we need to work on. He walks pretty good. The only thing I would recommend is, same thing. When the dog's beside you guys, don't flip your hand over. Here, let me show you something. Can I see you from my dad?
So you're saying when he's beside me, you go like this?
Like that, yes. I'll show you. Here. I'll show you why. Stay there for a minute. Okay, so if I'm Diane's dog and I'm sitting beside her like this, okay, and she feeds me, the palm is here, right? Okay, I'm not gonna. If I go here, what am I gonna be doing? Yeah, I'm gonna be going away from the food. I don't want to go there. Okay. However, if she flips her wrist over and feeds me like this, well, I don't see the food here. Now I'm gonna come here to get the food. So this is why your dogs are coming in front of you. So anytime the dog's beside you, feed here. Now understand, if the dog is here, obviously you can't feed him that way, because then the dog's in the wrong position. So what you could do is, if Diane just turns to the right, yeah, Diane turns to the right, turn to right more, keep turning right, and then starts feeding me, because now I'm on the outside, now my nose is lined up with her hand. Does that make sense? So we'll do that again. Flip your hand over the wrong way. Okay. So if her hand is like this, and I'm here, if she turns to the right, and now turns her hand at the same time, now I'm beside her, and now I'm lined up. Does that make sense? Okay, it's an easy way to get it.
Flat, you can just not see it, or you.
Well, if the back of the hand is to the dog, she's not going to see the food.
Right.
Okay? So let me show you something else that's going to really help you with this. Let me first ask you, do you guys understand the concept of walking on the leash? What to do?
What?
Of not to get into pull. Your dog didn't really pull that much, so it's not something that we really worked on with him. But did you guys, your dogs that pulled, did you kind of understand the concept?
Yeah.
So in retrospect, this works. However, you're always going to find something in front of the dog that the dog's going to say, I don't care if you stop or not. I really want to get to. Okay? So the idea is to work on this in a neutral environment. Your house, backyard, that kind of thing. And then slowly start implementing distractions. However, you may find a point where there's another dog in front of you, you stop, and the dog is not going to turn around and look at you. He still wants to pull, okay? At that point, just give a little check on the leash, or a little, hey, knock it off, okay? It's a reminder to the dog what you want. Because a lot of times, the higher distraction, the less training we get out of them. Because the dog's like brain is focused on somewhere else. So if I, stay there, Diane. Stay there. If I was Diane's dog and we're walking along, and I see a dog and she stops, and I don't turn around to her, she's gonna give me a little quick check on the leash. Oh, okay, Mom, fine. Okay, it's not to hurt the dog, it's just to remind the dog, hey, remember me? So even though there's a distraction in front of you, remember who I am. Still don't pull me. Does that make sense? Your check is dependent on your dog and how much distraction is in front of them. So if there's another big dog in front of my dog, he's probably not going to care. You put a cat or a squirrel in front of him, most likely he's going to say, screw Dad, I'm going to go after that. Okay, so that at that point, you know, I might give a little more sturdy of a check. Okay, does that kind of make sense before we move on? Okay, so now let's talk about healing. So healing is actually very easy if we really if we break it down. In the old days, what they used to do is they used to do a box concept. What they do is they'd walk with the dog and they would turn right. And every time they turn right, they'd yank the dog. Okay, and I guarantee you, if we did this with your dog, by the time your dog left the class tonight, your dog would probably be walking right next to you. However, two things are wrong with this. One, it's unfair to the dog, because in retrospect, you're checking the dog for not knowing exactly what you want. And two, the moment you don't have that leash on, now what happens? The dog's going to say, screw you, you don't have that power over me. I don't want to be checked, I'm not going to stay with you. So it's requiring the leash, and it's requiring negative reinforcement. I'm going to show you how to get in a positive way. However, can I use it again, Diane? One of the first things I'm going to teach you guys is a finish command. So let's say I'm Diane's dog and I'm right here in front of her. Now, yes, she could turn right and just get me beside her, but let's say she wants to just teach me how to get beside her. What she's going to do is she's going to take food in her hand, okay, and she's going to lead me back, bring back her leg. She's going to get me to turn around. She's going to get me to sit right here beside her, okay? This is the finish. It's not necessarily heel, but it's getting the dog in the heel position, okay? We're going to do this again. I'm right here. She leads me around, moves me forward, elbow out, hand up, and we sit right here, okay? It's a total different command than heel. We're going to teach finish, okay? Can I use you? Okay. I'm going to show you with this young man, and then I'm going to have you guys try this by yourselves. Alright, so are you going to teach your dog to heel on the left or right?
Probably on the right.
On the right? Okay, any particular reason? Let's do it on the left today. The reason being is, my brain is geared for the left, and this is easier for me to teach him. After today, if you want to switch it, you're more than welcome to, okay? Okay, so what he's going to do is he's going to have his, just for now, he's going to have his dog sit, and he's going to be in front of him. Okay? So here's what, feed her for the sit. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your hand, put it right in front of, oh, try again.
Lucy?
We have a little ADD, okay? Okay, keep your hand right there. I want you to lead her between us. So bring her, shake her hand a little bit, encourage her, go. There you go, keep going. Keep going, keep going. Shake your hand, encourage her. And go counterclockwise behind your leg. Almost like that. You got to get her to follow you though. Bring a little further back. Let her nibble. There you go. Okay, now do your circle. Maybe she's nervous about me. Keep trying.
Lucy. Lucy, sit. Come on, Goose.
Shake your hand a little bit.
Free. Come on.
Okay, Lucy's stuck in sit.
Super.
Let's try your dog. So one thing you might try with her is get a whole hot dog and let her nibble it, like little bites as she go along. Okay, so food in your left. Okay, stay right there. Okay, I want you to put the food right in front of her nose. I want you to bring your hand under your leg straight back. Okay, stop. Now, get her or him to circle around behind your leg. Shake your hand a little bit, put it right in front of his nose. Put it right in front of his nose. Let him nibble, let him nibble. Good, there you go, keep going. Encourage her. Good, now come forward, and come forward with your leg at the same time with the dog. Bring your hand up and say sit. Bring your hand straight up, say sit.
Sit.
You got to bring your hand up and say sit. Up, sit.
Sit.
And feed. Good job. Besides the dog sitting a little bit too far back, the dog did it. Free. Free. See, you do that again. So this is getting the dog in the heel position, basically beside you. So let's say you're in the store and the dog's been sniffing around. You're ready to get the dog to heel, and the dog's in front of you. This gets the dog beside you in the sitting position, ready to heel. Okay, let's see you do it again. Circle around behind your leg, come forward. Forward, and bring it up and say sit.
Sit.
Bring your hand up, you gotta say sit.
Sit.
Nice, good job. And freer.
Free.
Good. Okay, you guys see that? Let's see you try it. So we're gonna stand up. Let's see you do 3 or 4 of them and then sit back down. She can do it. Not too bad at all. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do that's gonna help you. I want you to plant your feet. Okay, do not, there you go. Do not move your feet. So stand in front of them and get. Okay, that was actually too bad. Are you gonna teach him on the left or right though?
I like the right.
Okay, that's fine. Right? No, right's fine. Actually, he did better on the right.
Then we just walk into the heel.
Well, you're not quite yet, but you're almost there. I love your enthusiasm. Do a couple more finishes.
Hey, sit. Sit.
Not too bad and free. Good. Make your circle a little bit bigger behind you,
Okay.
and he won't sit so far back.
Okay.
I think he's gonna do really good at this. Good.
Sit.
No, bring it back and up, back up. Bring your hand backwards.
Go back.
There you
Oh,
go.
I see. Okay.
Try it again, and try to not move your feet. Plant. Yeah, plant your feet. You can move your left leg back and then forward, but that's it. That's it.
Hold on a minute, Macy. You finish this and we'll let you do it, okay?
Sit.
Okay, hold on. Rusty.
Sit.
Okay, come here.
Very good job.
Okay, sit.
Shake your hand a little bit. Good, good.
Good boy.
Oh, wait. Holy cap, have you ever done that before?
Just
You did really good. Freer. Freer, good. Do it like 4 or 5 more times. Do it right in a row. Okay, not too bad, but always turn counterclockwise. So if the dog goes clockwise, the dog goes away. Wait, hold on, let me. Wait, if the dog's on your right hand side, sorry, my brain's back. If the dog's on your right, you want to go clockwise. If you go counterclockwise, the dog goes away from you.
I got you.
You went counterclockwise that time.
come on, go.
Okay, wait. You keep bringing your hand too far forward. He did the spin beside you really nicely, but your hand keeps going forward. So a way to do it is don't let your hand go past your leg. Think about it. Okay, don't go past your leg.
Sit. Sit.
Good, and free.
Free.
To be fair, try not to tell him to sit more than once. If he doesn't sit right away, wait for him to do it.
Okay.
If he doesn't do it after 30 seconds, free him and then do it again. But just don't feed him for it. He's going to learn. The only way I get my reward is if I do it right the first time. If you tell him sit, and then you feed him, the dog builds up the tolerance. Say, oh, I'm just going to wait till mom tells me 4 or 5 times, and then I still get the reward. Okay? How'd she do? Good job. Yeah, she's a bully breed. Okay.
Turn him towards you.
You want to go clockwise.
Okay. Now.
Okay, bring your leg straight back. Bring your right leg. Your right leg. No, you look. I want you to bring your right leg straight back. Okay, bring your right leg back. Okay, leave it back there. Get now really far back with your hand. Encourage him. Shake it a little bit. Here, let him nibble on it a little bit. Let him just nibble. Let him nibble on it. Let him now slowly move it. Now move. Well, he doesn't know. Okay, pull the leash just a little bit, just a little bit. Just there you go.
Come on.
He's trying.
Come on, come on.
Okay, he's not gonna. No.
I think he's
Okay, good try.
pretty good.
Was he? Okay. Okay. So now you understand how to get your dogs beside you in the heel position. Now, heeling's going to be a whole lot easier. Can I use you again? Okay, come out. So your finish and your heel are going to be two different things you're going to work on. So don't work on them together. But for right now, what this young man's going to do is going to ask us about to sit, and he's going to get beside the dog. Okay, so tell him to sit.
Sit.
You get beside him. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I stick your elbow out towards me. Okay, bring your hand out a little bit. Okay. Now, don't walk, but say heel and then feed him.
Heel.
And feed. Don't walk, please. It's okay. Come back. There you go. And don't walk. So say heel and feed.
Heel.
And feed. Good. Do it again.
Heel.
Try not to bring your hand up to your side. Just try to keep right above his head. Okay, say heel and feed.
Heel.
Good.
Heel.
And free and reload.
Free.
Completely out. You got 3 more. Okay. Okay, since he's only got 3 pieces of food left, we're gonna kind of rush this a little bit. Okay, you get beside him. Okay, elbow out. Elbow. There you go. Bring your hand out a little bit. Okay. Say heel and feed.
Heel.
Okay. Now here's what you're going to do in a minute. After you do a couple reps of these, bring your hand out. Okay, bring it down a little bit. Now, take 1 step with your right leg and say heel and take a step.
Heel.
Come forward. Bring your hand forward a little more. Encourage him. Come forward. With the food. The food. Bring forward. Now bring it up and sit.
Sit.
Could try it again. Okay, step forward and say heel.
Heel.
And stop. Good. Free. Okay.
Okay.
Here, she's got some hot dogs if you want to borrow it. Okay, so the idea, can I use you for a minute, Diane? The idea behind this is we're going to be teaching 3 things at once. The dog is going to be beside her. All right, but I'm her dog, so I'm here, right? She says heel, I look up. Now you notice I'm not moving, I'm still sitting. So I'm learning to sit when she's not moving. I'm learning heel means I look up. And I'm learning to be on her side. So you're going to do a couple of these. Heel, feed, heel, feed, heel, feed. And then you're going to free the dog. Okay, do another set. Heel, feed, free the dog. Then when you're ready, after you've done a couple sets of me not moving, don't move right up first. Then you're going to say heel and you're going to take 1 step. Okay, and what's going to happen is hopefully the dog moves with you. And hopefully when you come to a stop, the dog automatically sits. Because ask yourself this. If you can't get one correct step of healing, why would you want to try to take your dog for 100 steps of healing? All right? It's too much too soon. So we start with 1 step. We teach these things with 1 step. Once the dog gets 1 step, then we add 2 steps, 3 steps. Pretty soon you can heal all around and the dog's going to be attentive. And when you come to a stop, the dog is going to sit automatically, okay? So let's see you guys try this. So for right now, don't worry about the finish with your dog. Just put your dog in a sit. You get beside them. Say heel and feed. Don't take a step. Heel, feed, release. And then do that a couple more times. Release, and then do that a couple more times. And then after a couple more times, if you think you're ready to take a step, then try 1 step. You say heel and then take 1 step.
I'll try to get him up and make him shut again.
No, just tell him to sit.
Shut.
Okay? Say heel every time. Say heel and feed.
Heel.
And feed. Good. I want you to do that 10 times.
Heel.
Heel.
Nicely done. Okay, don't bring your hand up there. Keep your hand above his head. Okay, bring your hand back a little bit. Okay, now say heel and feed.
Heel.
Good. Try to have a handful so you don't have to keep reloading.
Heel.
Good. Again.
Heel. Heel.
Good. One more time and then free him.
Heel.
Good. And free.
Free.
Good job. Okay, reload and then do that again. Okay, bring your elbow out. Okay, bring your elbow out and hand out. There you go. So the reason being is, if you hold the hand up by your hip, the dog's gonna wrap out. Its butt's gonna go kind of like this. Okay. If you have your elbow on your hand right above the dog's head, the dog will look straight up. Okay. So, wait. Freeze. Bring it out just a little bit. There you go. That's where it needs to be for her. Heel and feed.
Heel.
Good job.
Heel.
She's gonna do really well.
Heel.
Good. How's it going?
I don't quite understand how to do it because I can't get him to sit and stay there.
Not you steady at all?
No, he won't do it.
Okay. Here, point him
Do
this way.
what you do.
Point him this way.
Point him this way?
Okay. Okay. Is he gonna be on your left or right?
This side's fine.
Okay. So I want you to turn and get beside him, right where Mason's at.
Like
Okay.
that?
Yep. Put your elbow out. Bring your hand out a little bit. Okay. Now say heel and feed him.
Heel.
And feed. Good. Right now he doesn't know. We're teaching the muscle memory. Heel and feed.
Heel.
Good. He sat right. There you go. Good. Heel again. Mason.
Heel.
Mason, can you sit down for me, buddy?
Go sit down on the chair, please.
Can you?
Go get in the chair.
Thank you. That really helps me a lot. Thank you for helping me.
Let's see.
Try it again.
Sit. Heel.
Just wait and feed. Good. Again
Heel.
and feed.
Heel.
Good. Now watch this. Take your hand, put it above his head, just like that. Now bring it back a little. Did you teach him to dance, or has he always just come up on his? Yeah, it's Mason. Can you sit
You
down?
sit down in the chair right now.
Thank you.
You know
Okay.
what? Sit. Heel.
And feed. Good. Okay, leave your hand right there.
Okay.
Bring it forward a little bit. Okay, now bring it away from. It's okay. Try it again. He's so used to coming up to your hand.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to. Okay, stop. Never feed him when he comes out. When he jumps up like that, don't reward him.
Okay.
Because you just fed him, right? You just told him it's okay to do that.
Okay.
So if he jumps up like that, try to just ignore it. I know it's gonna be difficult, but the moment he sits down, then reward him. Then the dog's gonna realize, oh, there's no success in jumping up like that.
Okay.
Okay, try it again. Tell him to sit.
Sit.
Bring your hand right above his head and say sit.
Sit.
Bring it down a little lower, then low, sit, lower.
Sit.
Okay, wait. Don't. Oh, so he came up and your hand came up. Leave it right there. Don't. He gets no success from it. Okay, say heel and feed.
Heel.
So if he comes up to your hand, and say again, if he comes up to your hand, don't move your hand away. Just leave it right there. He's gonna not gonna get fed, so he's gonna learn there's no success. Okay, say heel and feed.
Heel.
And feed. Good. I know he's not sitting. We're just gonna skip that step. Again, heel and feed.
Heel.
Good. Okay. Don't.
Heel.
Oh, try not to bring your hand back there, because the moment you brought your hand back there, what happened? There you go. Okay.
Heel.
Wait. No, don't move it. Don't feed him. Don't move it. Don't feed him. Nope. Nope. Just no, please. You moved it again. So by moving it, it gets him success. He just learned that's what he gets away with.
Okay.
You got to find a way to keep it stationary.
All right. Sit.
Keep trying. I'll come back in a minute. Okay, if you're ready, let's see you take one step. So, you keep the food above their head. Say heel and take one step forward and see if they move with you. And it'd be nice if they sat too, but if they move with you and keep their head up, that's our main goal. Is she? This is hard for her. No, see, you brought your hand up again. Keep it low. We're going to tie your hand to your leg. That'll help you. I'm joking. You know that, right?
Heel.
Okay, so
Is
you
that
get
okay?
yeah, you get beside her. Keep your hand right in front of her nose. You get beside her. There you go. Just like that. Keep it low. Keep it low.
Heel.
There. You see she started to jump up and she didn't, right?
Right.
Okay, keep your hand right there. Bring it closer to your body. Now don't move it. Whatever you do, I do not want you to move your hand.
Okay.
Now when I say heel and take a step forward. Say heel and take a step forward.
Heel.
Another step. And stop. Good. Feed her again.
There you go.
Okay, leave your hand right there. Don't move it. Bring it. Yep. Say heel and take a step
Heel.
forward. You brought it up again. Good. You almost got it. You see what we're doing here?
Yeah.
Okay, but you got to control that hand. It's going to be your hardest thing. So have your husband at home watch you. Honey, this is where my hand needs to be. If I move it, throw something at me, and you'll get the muscle memory.
Okay.
But she's learning success by jumping up. And every time she moves up, now you move your hand, and she's like, "Oh, I like the hand moving." And you fed her for dancing, for doing that, and now she thinks it's success.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. How do we feel about this? Does this kind of make sense? I know it's confusing.
Shouldn't they walk left or right leg depending beside the dog?
I'm gonna have you sit back down real quick.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Nope. Don't worry. Sorry. Do it now.
I was watching when the dogs don't left, they started with the right foot.
Okay, I mean, it's not a huge deal. So, just a key note that does kind of help the dogs a little bit. If the dog's on the right, your right-hand side, then when you step off for the first step, start with your right foot because the dog can see the leg moving. Especially, I noticed a difference with this young lady. When she stepped off with the left, the dog didn't necessarily see the leg moving. And so when she moved with the right, then the dog kind of moved. So try to kind of step off with the dog. It's a visual cue also to the dog that you're healing. Because let's say you want to put the dog in a sit and you want the dog to stay there. If you step off with the left and your dog is on the right, then the dog's going to realize, oh, Dad wants me to stay. When you step off with the right, I'm confusing you. Here, watch this. Can I use you? This will make a whole lot more sense. So I'm on her left-hand side right now, right? Okay. She wants me to stay here. I'm not going to move with her. She's going to step off with the right. It's a visual cue to me that I'm not going to heel. Okay. Now she comes back. Because every time we teach the dog to heel, we're stepping off with the left. She says heel, and she steps off with the left. Now the leg becomes a visual cue to the dog that either we're going to heel or you're going to stay. Does that make sense?
So whatever side the dog's on.
Yep, whatever side the dog's on, you step off with that leg first. So once you can get one step, where you can take one step and the dog moves with you, their head is up, feed them for that. Then try 2 or 3 steps, 4 or 5 steps. Build on it. But if you can get 1 or 2 steps for the next week, then do 1 or 2 steps for the next week. Don't think you're going to go home tonight and say, honey, look at my dog. He can heel just fine. It's not going to happen, okay? I think like I told you guys at the beginning of this class, you guys are here to learn. You're not going to train your dog in 4 weeks. I guarantee you're not going to train your dog in 4 weeks. This takes months of work. Yes?
So if I want him to go with me or walk, I start off with my right leg. If I don't want him, I start off my left leg. Ultimately, right?
Yeah, if you want the dog to stay stationary, then you step off with the opposite side that the dog is on. If the dog's on your right, you step off with the left. If you want the dog to follow you, you step off with the right. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes.
I just want to make a suggestion.
Sure, by all means.
Okay, I asked him last week to send me the links to our class next week, and you were able to watch it if you forget how to do something.
I do. I record all the classes. That way people can go back and rewatch them because I really want you guys to have success. It does me no good if you leave here and say, man, geez, I forgot all that. There was so much you threw at me. And then you're going telling other people, man, that class is too detailed or I didn't get enough out of it. Okay, I want you guys to go home and watch it, okay? So that brings me up a good my final points here. In the last 4 weeks, is there anything that one we didn't cover that you guys need to talk about real quick or something that we covered that you just did not understand that you guys want to go over again?
Not jumping up.
Not jumping up, okay. So we talked about that last week. We talked about conditioning the dog, that we taught the behavior of jumping up, especially for little dogs. Little dogs are notorious for jumping up because usually what happens is when a dog is 8 months old, then I get a phone call. Help me teach my dog not to do this. Why? Because at 8 months, now the dog is annoying. At 4 months, the dog's not annoying. At 3 months, it's cute. At 2 months, it's adorable, right? When the dog is a little dog, the dog can jump on you all day long. And when they're younger, it's not that big a deal. But then when the dog gets older and the nails are longer and the dog can bounce, then it becomes an issue. Okay, so did you work on what we...
I didn't get a chance to because
Okay, so I'm going to use my friend here, Diane. We'll go over it one more time. These are good questions, so I'm glad you're asking them. So, if I am a stranger and I walk up to Diane and her dog, I know the dog's going to jump all over me, right? So as a stranger, what I do is, let's say, see where this line, here, turn towards me, Diane, please. Okay. See where this line is right here in front of her? Let's say beyond that point, the dog can reach me. But when I'm on this side, the dog cannot reach me. Okay, so what I do is I come up to the line, I'm the stranger or the person helping you. It can be your husband, grandchild, it can be anybody. Anybody that the dog jumps up on. The moment we get close, we kneel down and feed the dog. We stand up and we walk away. Okay? We do this again. We get close. Right when we get to this threshold where the dog might jump up, we kneel down and feed. So instead of the dog getting success by jumping up, remember, jumping up on us is a value of $10. But us kneeling down and rewarding is a value of $100. Pretty soon, what choices is the dog going to make? Yeah, the dog's going to say, screw jumping up, that's only $5. Not jumping up is a value of $100. The dog starts using their brain. Does that make sense? However, kind of like what this young man brought up in the beginning of class, if you have strangers coming over, everybody that comes over to your house can either be a potential good training session or a bad training session. Because if they walk right into your door and your dog jumps all over them and they coddle your dog or acknowledge the dog, guess what the dog just learned? Yeah, wait a minute. I can still do that old behavior and I still get rewarded. So I can get the $100 from mom when she trains me, and I can still get the $5 from these people that walk in the door. Hey, it's a win-win. If you have strangers come over and you can't set the dog up and you can't train the dog, ask them the moment they come in, don't even look at the dog. Especially your dog. Your dog can jump all over people. It's not going to affect them, really. The pit bull and the bigger dogs is going to be a little more difficult. But if you can, tell them not even to look at the dog. Completely ignore the dog. And after a while, the dog's going to be like, oh, geez, people walking in the door. That's not that much in fun. Or what you can do is you put a bowl full of treats outside the door. Ask them the moment they walk in. The moment they walk in, start dropping food. Just start dropping food at the dog. Start dropping food. Okay? Now what's happened? Every time somebody walks in, is the dog going to be looking up or is the dog going to be looking down? The dog's going to be looking, screw that. Hey, they're only a value of $10, but on the ground there's a value of 100. They're not going to want to pass up that 100. Usually the first initial seconds of a dog meeting somebody is this initial of excitement. So if you can get past that and they calm down with feeding them, usually after that the dog's like, oh, there's a person here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Really.
The door now, he used to jump on me. He still jumps at the door, which I wish he didn't, but I can't do anything about that. But as soon as I walk in, if he jumps on me, I ignore him and I keep walking until he finally sits, and then I give him a
So I'm going to modify that a little bit. Don't wait for him to sit. Because is a problem jumping up or is a problem sitting? You could inadvertently be ruining your sit at the same time. Okay, so don't worry about the sit. Just wait till he's not. You just flat-footed, just standing there. However, if he offers a sit, if he chooses a sit, that's fine, but don't tell him to sit. Because, here, please hold on to her. Thank you. We don't want to inadvertently ruin your sit. If the dog thinks, oh, I can sit and then I can get up on my own, sit and get up on my own all I want, and mom rewards me for it, but then it sends a mixed signal about the sit. So a lot of people ask me, well, the moment I walk in, I just tell my dog to sit, then he doesn't jump up on me. Well, it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on an open heart surgery wound. It's really not fixing the problem, and the person walking in your door isn't going to know what to tell your dog to sit. Plus, if 100 people tell your dog to sit, and your dog only sits 20 out of the 100 times, now what happens to your sit? You're basically ruining your sit. Make sense? Okay, good question.
Some dogs are more prone, like my son has some terriers that are a little more radical as far as funky fat dogs, and they're more prone to jump on people than other dogs.
Yeah, honestly, little dogs. I get more little dog complaints than I do. Bully breeds also. The reason why I get bully breeds is, one, they can support a lot of their mass on their back legs. They're very strong built dogs. It's very easy for them to jump up on somebody and hold their weight up. Like Great Danes don't jump up that much. The reason being is that's a lot of mass they have to hold up. Now, then again, if a Great Dane jumps on you, you do know it because the dog knocks you over. So usually people, the moment the dog jumps up on them, they're like, oh, I got to work on this. Not like other dogs where it goes for months and then all of a sudden one day, hey, we want to work on it. Okay? Any other questions, guys? Yes.
Um,
Diane, let me hand out the slips.
I go to the coast a
The
lot.
slips underneath my camera.
I go to the coast a lot, and one of the things I want to do is exposing more dogs. You didn't think sports or dog parks were the best places to train your dog, but how about exposing him to other dogs so he's not going to be so aggressive? I mean, he gets around most of these. There's a few breeds that he gets a little more aggressive with, but he's doing really well with people. But to get him to go out amongst other dogs and not be so aggressive, just more exposure, taking him out to different places, a better place.
So that's a really good question. How do we socialize our dog? And he's right. I do not like dog parks. I think we kind of talked about this first class. It puts your dog at risk. Plus, it untrains your dog faster than you can train him. So the fact of life is, not all dogs get along. Me personally, I can tell you what I personally do with my dogs. My dogs don't get to sniff other dogs. My dogs don't get to play with other dogs. I got my dog to enjoy. I didn't get my dog to enjoy other dogs. In other words, I didn't get my dog so he can play with this guy's dog here. I like him, but I didn't get my dog to amuse his dog. I got my dog to enjoy my dog. So your dog doesn't necessarily need to sniff, to play with other dogs in order to be socialized. Right now, your dogs are socializing. How you handle that socializing is really up to you. So this dog is a little bit reactive. Part of it is his genetics. Part of it is his age. Hopefully with age, he'll get a little bit better. And I'm not trying to pick on you or the dog for a minute, okay? I'm just going to use an example. This dog over here is a very confident animal. If you notice, the dog really hasn't lunged or barked at anybody. He's kind of checked out this dog over here. Yeah, he's very, very confident. I can come up to him, "Hi, puppy!" and he sniffs me, right? If I was to do that with this dog over here, the dog would be like, "Hey, I'm kind of worried about that," okay? So the fact that this dog is a little bit worried means we have to kind of approach it with kid gloves. So if I was this young man, I would pick and choose who I have, what dogs I am around, okay? This dog here would not be a very good dog to socialize him with, to work around. However, this dog over here would be a good dog because this dog here is not going to cause him to be reactive. Did you notice the moment this dog started barking, what did the shepherd start doing? Did the same exact thing. Hey, you're reacting towards me, I'm going to react towards you. But he walked by this dog a little bit ago. They kind of saw each other, sniffed a little bit. Yeah, I was perfectly fine with that. So I'm definitely encouraging you to socialize them, getting around other dogs, but be careful who you get them around. And if you can tell from a distance, if you're coming near a dog and the dog is pulling the person, straining at the leash, barking, steer clear of them. I mean, really steer clear of them. I do the same thing with my dog. If I'm in public and I see a dog that's out of control, I don't even go near them. I stay completely away from them. The reason being is, one, I don't want to take a chance of their dog getting loose and a problem causing with my dog. I have a puppy in the car right now. He's from Germany, very expensive animal. If a dog comes up to him and he has a negative experience, it could haunt him for the rest of his life. It could actually destroy his career. I'll tell you a quick story. There's a young man I worked with years ago that had a dog, and his dog was very reactive towards other dogs. We worked with the dog. The dog was getting really good. He was able to get the dog around other dogs. Never within 2 feet, beyond 2 feet, the dog would be reactive, but he was really, really good. He let his guard down. He was in his garage one day working on his truck, had the garage door open, wasn't paying attention to the dog. A seeing eye dog went by in training. A puppy went by in training. The worst happened. The dog could not be trained anymore, had to be retired. Okay, so it's that important that you pay attention to the dogs around you and you pick and choose the dogs that you socialize with. Okay? All right, any other questions?
Do you know of any fenced-in areas,
that aren't dogs park?
Well, other than a dog park?
Yeah, no.
That, I've taken her behind Willow Lake, where she can run and that there's no other people around. But I'd like to find something closer where I could let her just.
Yeah, so
energy.
Diane usually brought up what I suggest. However, they really shun against it. I like tennis courts. Okay? Yes, tennis courts are a little bit hard on the pad, so you got to be careful how much you play in there. But it's closed in, it's fenced in. If you go late at night, they maybe won't get caught. Technically, you're not supposed to do that. However, you can close all the gates. Sadly enough, there's really not a place that's That's why the cities create dog parks, so people have a place to bring their dogs. However, if you have a dog that you're worried about with other dogs, then you're kind of screwed. Now, they do have a little area, I know, at the Medford Dog Park. If you have a reactive dog, you can take it in there. However, all the dogs run up to the fence and bark at it anyways, so it's kind of counterintuitive. So one of the things that we do sometimes is we have a long line. We talked about a long line last week. We put a 30-foot leash on the dog and bring the dog somewhere. The dog at least has 30 feet. You can go beyond that, and let's say, so we're going to talk about some mechanics here. Let's say I have a 30-foot leash on me right now, okay? Diane's all the way over there. Diane's 20 feet away. I have 30 feet of leash on me. If I head this way, Diane still has enough slack in the leash to go step on it if I start to beeline it somewhere. So having your dog on a really long line and having some freedom can give you a little bit more freedom, okay? So sadly enough, I really don't know a place that you won't get kicked out of or call the police on. Okay? Hey, if you find a place, let me know. Okay.
What about boarding your dog if you were ever boarded?
Oh, boarding. Boy, that's a hard one. So, I don't like boarding. I don't like boarding facilities for a couple different reasons. One, it's nothing against them personally. You have to really pick and choose. If you do find a boarder, go in before you even drop your dog off there and see who runs it. Make sure they're over age of teenagers and they know how to handle the dog. If you do, tell them exactly what you want done with the dog to the T. In other words, the dog, you know, if you don't want your dog to play with other dogs, it doesn't play with other dogs. If you don't want them to do any training with your dog, don't let them do any training. If I was in a situation where I had my board my dog, honestly, I'd rather put him in the kennel, clean the kennel, and feed him, and that's it. Don't take him for walks. Don't allow him around other dogs. I would ask for my dog not to be kenneled next to another dog. I'd be very, very, very particular. So, Oak Tree School for Dogs in Eagle Point. I think he'd probably be who I recommend. I don't know if you guys know, but a lot of your vet offices do boarding also. Your vet, like a local vet office. Usually a vet, now they're more expensive. I think the average boarding cost right now is like $12 to $14. Your vet usually charges $18 to $20. However, usually the vet office only has 3 dogs boarding at the same time, and usually they're a little bit more up on dog safety and what to do with the dog. Okay, anything else? All right, well, you guys did really good. If it's okay, I'd like to get a photo of each one of you guys and your dog and your graduation slip. 1 for my record, so I remember who you guys are. 2, I put these on Facebook, or you guys can, hey, email me a copy. That way you guys have a little memory of being here. Okay, is that okay? All right, so what I'm gonna have you guys do is spread out a little bit, and then we'll do just 1 dog at a time. Okay, so how about you guys just stay right there for a minute? I'm gonna have you guys go that way a little bit for me.